Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. You've impacted me. First of all, just kind of listen to what you said. Anybody that knows the game, anybody that really appreciates coaches that invest time in their players, we can see just how amazing of a job you're doing. And it's special to listen to you talk about the approach you take with your players, because it's uncommon. I don't think everybody views relationships with players like that. So
I think if you're going to talk about your core values and the first one being connection, like you can't talk about it and not, embody it. And so I think if you want them to play hard and you want to have a connection, you got to work on it. You can't just say it. I had a recruit ask me a question the other day, like coaches, I'll say, like they really get to know their players off the court and this and that. And I said, well, if you ever sit across from a coach and they say they're not going to build a relationship with you off the court, I said, I'm pretty sure you're not going to go with it, or you need to call me, because I'll be really impressed if a coach is that honest with you. I said, so every coach is going to sit across from you and tell you that. And they are. I think what you have to figure out is you have to talk to the players that are there, that live it every day, and find out if that's true. And certainly I'm not perfect. And, I can always be better in that area, but I do think it's important. I think that players are more apt to give you their all on the court if they truly know that you do care for them off the floor, that you don't just prioritize that they can make jump shots or, block shots, but, that what they're doing academically, what they're doing in the community, what they're going through with their families, is just as important to you. And that sometimes that's more important, and needs to be heard. And I think that's the holistic approach. And I think it's the approach that we need today to take with this generation. And I've got 3 teenagers at home. I've got 2 seniors and a freshman. And so
do any of them play?
No, they're lacrosse players and cheerlead. Nice. Like my daughter's going to play flag football this fall, so that should be interesting. But I think it's, understanding a little bit of what they're going through, on a daily basis, and what they worry about, and the peer pressure and the expectation and all of that, and how anxious, that can make them. It's really real, and it's so easy to say, pull up your bootstraps, let's go, like it just, those cliches kind of don't really work, I think, with this generation.
Without realizing it, you impacted me in a big way last year. My wife and I and sons came down to watch a Baylor men's game, and I'm sitting there, not about midway. It's hard for me to get the good tickets, and because I'm old now, and so and I'm not a recruit, but I'm sitting up there and I'm watching, and up on the jumbotron I see you, and I'm like, oh, where's the coach at? You're right over in the middle of the student section, like hanging out with the students. And I'm telling you, I was so convicted in that moment, because at Faith, even a small private school, I have a lot of tunnel vision. And sometimes I really only care about my players, our program, and I don't associate as much as I should. What is your advice to coaches? Like, what positives do you see that come from you being not, supporting other sports like you do, being a part of the student section, showing off your personality, when sometimes I don't feel like that's that popular, or people are maybe a little more guarded? What's your advice to coaches that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us have to work outside our comfort zone. I think, the college athletics, I'm sure, I mean, I always say, like, whether your boss is never going to put more pressure on you than you're going to put on yourself. Like, I just think that's the nature of coaches at every level. Like, I have personal expectations, things that I want to do, things that I want to accomplish, things that I feel like I should be able to do, with the players I have. And so I know that everybody else needs to be encouraged too. And to me, as much as we talk about tapping up, in our own program, that's my way of tapping up in every other program. Like, we're here. Like, I feel your pressure right now. And I think being a part of it, I think it's the beauty when you get away from college athletics like I did for 5 years, and I loved my time in the W, and I'll be the biggest supporter there is. But I miss the camaraderie of the university environment, the athletic department, the university environment, the community, having not only the athletic department here, but Baylor and Waco and Central Texas, support what we're doing. Like that just matters, because I think in the W, you're always struggling to find your niche in the market and have your players be valued. I could have walked anywhere in Atlanta and no one would have known, who I was. And there were times I was on billboards, but it's kind of like, I'll give you a perfect example of that. And we all have been through this. Like, we had the people from Centex come to a game with us, and like, I didn't even know anything about Centex. And now I can't see it. I see it everywhere, like billboards. And, sometimes things stare you in the face, but until you have that personal connection to it, you look right past it. And you don't realize that you're seeing it day in and day out. And I think it's about being visible. And, the acro team last year was so excited, when I showed up at their event. And, I don't look at myself as a celebrity. So it's kind of funny when they were like so excited that Coach Nicki was at their game. And I had a couple of them reach out to me through my Instagram account saying, will you come to our game? And,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I think it matters. I think, I see Brad and Linda Livingstone at events, and they see me supporting, other sports. And I just think it's important. Like, we're all in this fishbowl together, with a lot of the same goals. And, I just know, and from the student perspective, like, I just feel like students miss the boat on women's basketball. I don't know why. It's just, I feel like it's cool. It's always been cool to go to men's basketball, and it's cool sometimes to go to volleyball. And I don't know why it's not cool to go to women's basketball. And so if I can create that personal, connection to students across campus, and get a few more to come to our games, I just know, watching great sporting environments, it's so often the students, because they're loud and they don't care. And, like,
we learned that during the COVID year.
Yeah. They'll just cheer to cheer, it's so often, like, there are fans that clap when good things happen. You need the fans. If you really want to have a great environment, you need the fans that understand, like, hey, we need to stop right now. And now's when I need to be the loudest. And I need to ride the wave of that. And so I just feel like that's the advantage, is trying to create an environment where we're truly connected to campus. We're not, so often athletics can feel very disconnected from campus, and trying to at a school, especially like Baylor, that's not as big, to truly make that cross campus connection really matter.
Coach, thank you for those reminders. And again, I will let you know that the boys basketball team here and myself, we did come to a volleyball game this year and wore NBA jerseys. And I actually wore my old college jersey from Baylor, that it was Converse. And it was so thick and heavy. It was like a jacket. Like, I can't believe
you had the polyester.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Converse. Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.